This complicated mess of gears and levers is the Gestetner duplicator, an early photocopier. But in 1929, designer Raymond Loewy did something that changed everything. He covered all that complex machinery in a sleek, elegant shell. That one simple move quietly rewired our expectations forever. Design stopped being about helping you understand, and instead became about making sure you didn't have to. And that idea spread because the less you think, the easier it is to sell you something. The world has been redesigned for convenience and seamlessness. The more effortless a product becomes, the easier it is for companies to shape our behavior, and the harder it is to notice what we've lost. Today, you tap a few icons and food appears at your door. You watch shows designed to hold your attention, but not actually move you. Even dating is flattened into bullet points and dopamine loops that leave everyone feeling more disconnected. It's not that people stopped being curious, it's that systems now channel that curiosity into safe, profitable behaviors. So how did we get here? And how did design, something that was supposed to empower us, become a tool for flattening the human experience? Sometimes the answer is right in front of you, like how your headphones connect. You flip open the case and before they're even in your ears, they're already synced. Music starts playing exactly where you left off. No buttons, no thought, just a magnetic click and boom, you're locked in. The interaction is so seamless, it's practically invisible, and that's exactly the point. Because when something becomes that easy, it stops feeling like a choice. You're not deciding to listen to music. You're just reacting to an impulsive flicker of boredom, a pause in conversation, or a moment of discomfort. And suddenly you're halfway into a podcast episode. The original designers behind convenient design weren't trying to manipulate us, but as our world became more overwhelming and complicated, designers just wanted to simplify life. Loewy made objects look clean and streamlined, but Dieter Rams went even further with that idea. He wanted products to disappear. He believed that design should be so intuitive and user-friendly that you barely even notice it's there. But over time, things shifted. Companies realized it's difficult to increase someone's desire to want to do something. It's far better to make it effortless by removing as many barriers as possible. It's about creating an impulsive, conditioned response. Removing even the tiniest obstacles in an interaction helps it become more like a reflex rather than a conscious thought. Google autocomplete searches for you and corrects your spelling without you needing to think about it. Apple's camera shortcut was revolutionary as well. They made the camera accessible without unlocking the phone. Just double tap the side button and take your picture. It only takes away one extra step, but it completely changes behavior. We all take more photos because of it. If you make design effortless enough, even your loneliness, your boredom, your awkward silence becomes a trigger. Then designers make their product the easy escape. Think about how many times you check your phone throughout the day reflexively when you feel even the tiniest bit of discomfort or boredom. Companies have learned that they don't need to design a better product that improves your life. They just need to remove friction and make the product accessible. If you can do that, people will use your product even when they don't really want to. It just becomes an impulse that you don't even notice. The more subtle the trigger is, the better. In the past, traditional marketers and designers might say, let's make people want our cigarettes. But today, companies are basically saying, let's give them infinite cigarettes on demand, right in their pocket, with free delivery, and an algorithm constantly tempting you to have just one more. One of the biggest risks for getting addicted to any drug is easy access to it. The best designers know this also applies to products. Many of them prey on our base instincts found in our limbic system, which is one of the most primitive parts of our brain that handles emotion and reward. It's fast, automatic, and it's what drives you to avoid pain, seek comfort, and chase dopamine, even when your logical brain knows better. This keeps us trapped in a more reactive mental state. David Courtwright calls this new system of business and design Limbic Capitalism. It's gotten to a point where this mindless consumption is as destructive as any drug. In the book Dopamine Nation, the author's patient got hooked on the cycle of searching for and buying products online. He purchased enough cheap Amazon garbage to fill up several rooms in his house and was tens of thousands of dollars in debt, but he couldn't stop. Consumption has become a new form of addiction, and our modern products and services are the delivery method. We're all running from pain. Some of us take pills, some of us couch surf while binge watching Netflix. We'll do almost anything to distract ourselves from ourselves. Nothing satisfies us, and we're slowly devouring ourselves in this endless cycle of running away from discomfort. And here's the scary part. The longer we stay stuck in that loop, the shorter our view of the future becomes. According to one study researching the effects of drugs on long-term planning, people who are not addicted to drugs would plan nearly 5 years into the future. But people addicted to opioids could only plan about 9 days ahead. Addiction shrinks your world. It moves you from a strategic mindset to a survival mindset. You stop thinking rationally and start thinking impulsively. And modern design is optimizing for this outcome. All of the products and services around you are specifically designed to keep you from feeling true boredom. But boredom is actually a very important emotion. Boredom leads to reflection. The thing is, companies don't want you to reflect on the system they've created. Tools used to sit quietly in the background. A hammer doesn't beg for your attention, it just waits to be used. At most, the shape of the grip might guide your hand, subtly suggesting how to hold it. Older tools might encourage a certain behavior, but they don't demand it. Today, we've moved from a world of passive tools to ones of persuasive, addictive technology. They buzz, ping, scroll, and glow. They're steering you. Now, it's bad enough that this is destroying our sense of personal agency, but what it does to our relationships is even worse. Speaking honestly and openly with close friends and family promotes human attachment, even at the neurochemical level, triggering the release of dopamine. But compulsive overconsumption leads to isolation and indifference. The cheap dopamine rush of convenience cancels out the slower, richer reward of connecting with other people. And that's one of the big reasons why we feel so alone in this modern society. Corporations have designed it to be that way, and when addiction or compulsion wins, empathy fades. Experiments show that a free rat will instinctively try to rescue another rat trapped in a bottle, but once that same rat is given unlimited access to addictive substances, it just stops caring. It doesn't even try. And that's exactly what's happening to us. These systems that promise connection and convenience, whether it's social media, frictionless commerce, or algorithmic entertainment, are numbing our basic instincts to care for each other. Millions of years of evolution wired our brains to crave social connection, so it's no surprise that when companies optimize those circuits for profit, they create something deeply addictive. Convenient design is almost like a drug, and like any drug, it comes with a cost. Just to be very clear, I don't know if designed convenience can be classified as a clinical addiction, but I do believe these products encourage an unhealthy, self-centered, and short-sighted worldview. I also don't think any of the people who work at these companies are inherently evil. They're just making decisions based on bad incentives and not thinking about it too much. Even though the people aren't evil, a lot of the outcomes they create are. Speaking of incentives, I'm incentivized to ask you to subscribe. So click the button if you like this video. But anyway, these companies know how to keep you stuck in the convenience trap. Have you ever noticed how you're never really fulfilled using these products? No one even remembers anything they watched during a 30-minute TikTok binge. Even Spotify has access to basically all music ever made, but it always recommends the same handful of songs to you. It gives you just enough novelty to keep you coming back, but it will never challenge your tastes or force you to grow. The goal is to keep you scrolling and consuming instead of reflecting. One company that makes a product that actually does improve your quality of life is AnyDesk. If you're a designer, engineer, or editor working across multiple devices, AnyDesk might be the best tool you're not using yet. I've been integrating it into my workflow, and it's kind of a game changer. With AnyDesk, I can remotely access my editing rig from my laptop. The connection is so fast and responsive, it feels like I'm right there in my office, and it works on Windows, Mac OS, and all these other platforms. And because AnyDesk uses a proprietary codec, the image quality stays sharp, even in remote areas or on spotty Wi-Fi. Audio pass-through means I can scrub and edit YouTube videos remotely, and thanks to 99.98% uptime, I know I can rely on it. The direct file transfers are also really useful. No more cloud uploading, no more waiting to sync. I can move raw footage, project files, whatever I need, straight from device to device, instantly and securely. If your workflow lives across many devices or locations, AnyDesk brings it all together seamlessly. It's free for personal use, and if you've got a team, they offer tailored business plans. Thanks to AnyDesk for sponsoring this video. Download AnyDesk for free today using my link in the description. Back to the video. The cost of passive convenience is very real. Food delivery is a perfect example. You tap a couple squares on your phone and a box of food just appears at your door. You get exactly what you want when you want it. Now, in a lot of ways, that's amazing. But in the long run, it's empty and unsatisfying. An entire culture of food, history, and human connection got reduced to a couple of clicks. There's no conversation, no context, just a plastic bag and an algorithm. Then we sit on the couch half distracted while binge watching another forgettable season of The Big Bang Theory. The experience is completely flattened and meaningless. With delivery, the food quality is always worse. It's often cold and soggy, it's much more expensive, the plating presentation is subpar, and it's wasteful in terms of the disposable packaging and the gas required to transport the food to you. Convenience is the only real benefit. It's way faster to just order something than it is to make your own food or go out to a restaurant. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing inherently wrong with this. I order delivery all the time. The problem is that modern conveniences often lead to disconnection and alienation. When you remove the friction, you also erase the story. We don't see how it's made, who the chef is, or who owns the restaurant. The food is entirely divorced from any deeper context. It's just another thing to consume rather than an experience to appreciate. You lose the connection to the food and the people who made it for you. Humans crave connection and a deeper narrative. There's unbelievable sensory richness in something as simple as just picking out some fruits at the market. But in the name of efficiency, companies do everything they can to erase that story. It makes things simple and mindless, but it also hides the truth. That's because behind the curtain, the story of companies that prioritize convenience is often ugly. Exploitative labor, factory farms, and environmental damage. They flatten vibrant culture. If we can't see how something is made, it's harder for us to be personally invested in it. It diminishes our sense of community. Something as simple as ordering a pizza on an app is bad for digestion, bad for relationships, and bad for mental health. There's a reason why children who eat at least one meal a day at home with the family are more emotionally adjusted as adults. And it's not just how we eat food, it's everything. Anthropologist Marc Augé coined the term non-place to describe spaces like airports, chain hotels, or gas stations. Sterile zones of transaction, designed for pure function rather than for memory and meaning. They prioritize efficiency, standardization, and seamless experience. Every space like this becomes emotionally weightless. It's where culture goes to die. Marc Augé mostly talked about non-places in architecture, but I think it permeates all of modern culture. It's everywhere. Amazon's Echo is a non-place in product form. It's a generic, featureless blob that can do anything but means nothing. It has no history, no personality, no sense of who made it or why. Its only job is to make consumption easier. That's it. The more we optimize our lives for convenience, the more everything starts to feel like a non-place. If you don't have to leave your house to eat, shop, or socialize, eventually you stop noticing the world outside your room. And when you stop noticing, you stop caring about it. This goes deeper than just manipulating space and flattening cultural richness. These products are specifically designed to increase our expectations by giving us exactly what we want before we even know we want it. In many ways, that's great, but we're also losing the value of anticipation and deeper understanding. Without that effort or understanding, we don't appreciate things as much. Apple is masterful at making effortless designs. Their products are the logical endpoint of the design lineage that began with the Gestetner duplicator. There are no screws, no seams, no evidence of how the object is assembled. It's just a minimalist mystery box that does everything for you. Apple products aren't necessarily bad, but just like the Gestetner duplicator, there are side effects. When you can't see how things are made, and you can't even see their inner workings without destroying the product, it sort of nudges you to accept the status quo. You're just supposed to admire the beautiful surfaces and keep buying. You're not meant to understand the object. This is the norm for most mass market products today. Sure, there are exceptions, but most of them are only skin deep, like the clear tech trend that pops up every couple decades. I think this trend taps into the desire to regain control of our products. If you can see the inside of the device, it feels more understandable. But in a world full of corporate opaqueness and digital privacy concerns, this illusion of honesty is no different than Loewe's Gestetner duplicator or Apple's monolithic products. You can see the parts inside, but you can't actually interact with them. You can't take the device apart very easily or understand it any better than you could a sealed aluminum MacBook. It's just a superficial aesthetic shell rather than a deeper change. When we strip away anything that might trigger curiosity, friction, or thought, we flatten the complexities of life itself. We've been trained to be less curious about the systems surrounding us and instead focus on endless amusement. I'm not saying that people aren't curious anymore. It's just that our curiosity has been redirected. Our current systems reward increasingly low-effort curiosity that loops back into consumption. You might watch a dozen YouTube product reviews and then buy something. You scroll through like 50 Instagram reels with subtle product placement. Our curiosity is being nudged away from meaning and effort and towards things that are profitable for someone else. When everything is conveniently available, we don't need to explore or adapt. Modern design is even stripping away our ability to make our own decisions. It even changes our relationships with each other and with the objects we own. That last part about relationships with objects might sound strange, but just hear me out. Take my leather jacket, for example. Over the years, the leather has softened, darkened, and slowly become more form-fitting. As a designer, I sketch a lot, so the right-hand sleeve is visibly darker from dragging my arm across tabletops thousands of times as I draw my lines. Each mark tells a story of our time together. There's a memory and a personality there. Other traditional tools are like this too. A cast iron pan gets seasoned over time. These objects respond to how we use them. A guitar neck wears in. You adjust the string height and the neck to your personal preference. Your fingers will strengthen and develop calluses. You adapt to the object, and the object adapts to you. When you spend a lot of time with tools and build relationships with them, you understand their quirks, their limits, and their strengths. A cast iron pan or a leather jacket gets better with age, partially because your relationship with it deepens. Through that understanding, you gain appreciation and you both grow together. And look, I know that my leather jacket doesn't literally think or have feelings. I get it. It's not like a relationship with a person, okay? But there is a certain kind of reciprocity there. When you use the object, you slowly figure out why the original makers designed the object to be that way. You feel a connection to them. That's a big reason why convenient design makes us lonely. We immediately get what we want without understanding the labor, the people, or the complexity of the relationships between them. The mark of a good product by today's standards is that it performs perfectly on the first try and asks nothing of you. And that's a problem. It's a totally one-sided relationship where there's no mutual shaping back and forth. It just does exactly what you want. This might sound great, but true connection is built on mutual understanding. Tech companies often give their assistants human names like Alexa or Siri for a reason. It's to give you a simulation of companionship. But a good relationship requires effort, negotiation, and growth. Siri doesn't need any of that because Siri only exists to serve you. Like any one-sided relationship, it doesn't allow for depth and understanding. This applies to other things like watching movies. Here's what David Lynch had to say about watching his films on a phone.
Now, if you're playing the movie on a telephone or on your computer, you will never in a trillion years experience the film. You'll think you have experienced it, but you'll be cheated. It's such a sadness that you think you've seen a film on your fucking telephone. Get real.
I know, you're probably watching this video on your phone or laptop right now, but I designed it for that context, and his point still stands. When someone makes something with care and intention, the way you experience it matters. You wouldn't eat a gourmet meal out of a dog bowl. It's the same idea. Art and design is meant to be experienced in a way that honors the creator's intent. And when you slow down and actually listen or watch or feel, you're understanding a film rather than thoughtlessly consuming content. I should acknowledge that I know I sound like a disgruntled old man who doesn't understand the world anymore when I say this stuff. Complaining about modern times is as old as time itself. I also acknowledge that the people who only use inferior analog products just because they have soul can be kind of insufferable. So I want to make it very clear that designing something to be convenient is not always bad. Everyone likes it when things just work, and sometimes reliable simplicity is absolutely necessary. I don't want a finicky fire extinguisher with personality while my kitchen's burning down because I accidentally torched the Thanksgiving turkey in my zany temperamental oven that occasionally lights on fire. I'm fine with convenience when it matters, and convenience absolutely can make life better. If I'm feeling tired, I can deposit a check with a couple taps on my phone, rather than driving to the bank. That gives me more time to focus on resting or focus on things I actually care about. If I'm overwhelmed already, I don't want to focus on another thing that I have to do. I totally get it. I'm just tired of being told that ease of use and convenience is the highest virtue of design. It's not. The promise of convenience is that it frees up our time, but time for what exactly? So I save some time not having to go to the bank, and then what? I open Instagram and doom scroll for 20 minutes? Refresh my email? Is that really time saved? A part of me wonders if the boring task of going to the bank would be more enriching and interesting. At least you go outside for a little bit, maybe say hello to the bank teller. Don't get me wrong, it's not exactly a life-changing experience, but it can help you feel a little bit more connected. And I don't even like doing errands. I was talking to my friend Rafi about this, and he asked, if everything just appears in front of us, what do we do with all that energy that once went into making food or driving to the bank? You'd think we'd be happier, but people aren't talking to each other anymore. People are not getting into relationships. They're having less sex. They're less invested in society. It's not like we're using this saved time to go do things with our family or enjoy hobbies. A lot of the time, we're just idly wandering around from sensory stimulus to sensory stimulus. My issue is that we keep telling ourselves that convenience and efficiency will free us, but that doesn't usually happen. The promise of saved time is a lie when it just gets spent on something hollow. Some companies are taking it even further. They're slowly flattening our relationship with the creative process itself, all in the name of speed and convenience. That's what happens with AI-generated music. Here's what this CEO of an AI music company had to say about it.
We didn't just want to build, let's say, a company that makes the current crop of creators 10% faster or makes it 10% easier to make music. If you want to impact the way 1 billion people experience music, you have to build something for 1 billion people. And so that is first and foremost giving everybody the joys of creating music. And this is a huge departure from how it is now. It's not really enjoyable to make music now. People enjoy.
Why'd you say that?
It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of practice. You need to get really good at an instrument or really good at a piece of production software. I think the majority of people don't enjoy the majority of the time they spend making music.
Now, I don't know what this guy is talking about. The struggle of the creative process is exactly what's enjoyable about it. Doing challenging things that help us grow is the whole point of living. If you lose all the nuance of the music-making process, why even bother? There are serious existential and cultural risks with AI, and that deserves its own video. But for now, let's focus on something more immediate. You won't be able to trust anything you see online. Google's new Veo model can generate video from nothing but a sentence prompt, and it looks shockingly real. We are entering an era where effort and authenticity are no longer required to make something convincing. That's a huge issue. How can you feel emotionally attached to a performance, a news story, or even a human face if you're not sure it's real and no effort went into making it? AI almost completely erases the process of making things. I'm not saying that AI is always bad, but so much of what gives something value is the effort behind it. Convenient flattening has become a tyranny. If this future continues, we will continue to deny ourselves the right to make our own decisions and rob ourselves of countless fulfilling moments. The modern world wants to keep us flat, predictable, and perfectly efficient. It's like a waffle iron. When you pour the batter, it starts out fluid, messy, and dynamic. But when the grid closes, pressure and heat press us all into neatly flat, perfectly uniform squares. This is what society is doing to us. I know it's cliche, but you know it's true. It flattens our complexity and individuality into something predictable and neat. Everyone knows that the crispy golden margins are where it's at. It's asymmetrical, a little bit unevenly cooked, and honestly the best part of the whole goddamn waffle. But honestly, I'm really more of a pancake guy. I like it when they're in lunch shapes. The information age has brought us immeasurable speed and efficiency. We now have a choice to either enter the age of thoughtless consumption or the age of deep empathy. The slower things that don't reward us immediately are the experiences that stick with us. The things that help us feel and connect are the ones that will help our empathy grow. If we want to break free, we have to purposely reintroduce difficulty into our lives. Choosing friction over ease goes against every modern reflex we have, and the world around us is constantly pulling us towards the path of least resistance. But we're starting to remember that friction brings depth. One of the best examples of something slow yet rewarding is learning to play an instrument. It can be repetitive, frustrating, it's expensive, and you're gonna suck at it for a really long time. But in spite of all that, learning to play a musical instrument is one of the most rewarding things you could ever do. What's great about music is that it's even more fun when you play alongside other people. It has a built-in communal element to it. But it doesn't have to be music. It can be anything. You can do photography, drawing, gardening, woodworking, or really anything that requires stillness and concentration. Even just sitting and having a meal with friends is enough. You can even sit outside and look at some trees for a few minutes every day. It doesn't matter. I know that my solution might come across as cliche and trite, especially when the forces pushing us towards convenient flattening are so strong. So I also want to be honest with you. There are no simple solutions to feelings of alienation that modern design creates. The rewards of a mindful life are neither immediate nor guaranteed. Sometimes it feels like we're screaming into the void. I don't have the answers to these questions. Nobody does. But that doesn't mean it's meaningless. The reality is, we have to move forward in spite of uncertainty. If you do that, the world may reveal itself to you as something magical and awe-inspiring that doesn't require escape. Instead, the world may become something worth paying attention to. These videos take hundreds of hours to make. I read 1,000+ pages of articles and books. I talk to industry experts, and I reflect on my 15 years of experience in the design industry. If you like these videos and you want to help build a place where design and culture is discussed with depth and honesty, then consider supporting me on Patreon. You can sign up for a few dollars a month, and as a show of thanks, you get early access to my videos, plus a few other perks. My plan is to slowly transition to a more audience-funded model for this channel. That way we can talk about the videos that you care about. Big shout out to my patrons, as well as Tim and David. I also want to give a shout out to the book Unflattening by Nick Susanis. It's where I got the term flattening to describe homogenization of culture. I hope you learned something and have a great day.